And welcome back, everyone, to another round of the Virtual Drift Championship. This is the main event, Top 32 here at Okayama International Circuit. My name is Craig. With me, as always, is Tanner. We had an exciting bout of qualifying, and here we are in the main event.
Yeah, halfway through the season, round 3, and if you guys missed qualifying, you missed out on a crazy time. An insane qualifying, no double zeros, a couple zeros, but no double zeros, which was nice. And Alan Hines himself setting the highest qualifying score of the day with a 98.
Yeah, coming out swinging. Really, that second group also went off. We ended up having just a ton of 90s across the board. You needed a 90 to get into the top 32 today, a 90.7. And if you're, again, just now joining us and missed out on that qualifying, we will go over the line map for today. That start of the course down at the bottom of your screen. And we're going backwards through the course today and entering in with your first decel and your first outside zone, a course full of outside zones and nothing but outside zones. Drivers will be required to stay on that track edge for maximum points out front in that lead position through all of these outside zones. We'll move through the course into clip through your first Manji section of the course and back down to clip 3 and going up the hill for clip 4. Drivers need to hang on to as much momentum, if not gain momentum, going up the hill as well, and into clip 5 where they'll transition and then one more time into your next decel zone, probably the biggest decel zone on the track here, and into clip 6, back down the hill some more, your last and final decel zone, into the last and final outside zone along a wall ride. Wouldn't be a VDC layout with a wall ride.
It definitely wouldn't be. A lot of people were shocked that there was only one, but this course you only need one.
Absolutely. I think it brings a little bit of extra challenge as well, especially that second to last outside zone, that clip 6 that we just saw on the line map, not having a wall right there. Drivers need to be careful to not go off the back of the track, which we saw a couple of times in qualifying, leading to zeros. And now maybe a little bit extra pressure is on here in the top 32. And drivers need to compose themselves, especially in that chase position as well. You can't really, there's a couple areas here and there where you can't really be tied to that lead driver's door and need to maybe fall back a little bit to let that lead driver make these transitions through these Manji sections. So a lot of discipline will be required today. We'll take a look at today's top 32 bracket, and there it is. Alan Hines qualifying first there up in the top left, and he'll face off against Lizam here in the first battle of the day. It looks like we've got some other drivers here at the line waiting.
We do. So first up is going to be Ahmed Al-Harbi up against Pontus Jackson. Ahmed in the BMW in the lead lane, up against Pontus in the chase position in that beautiful returning in the GTR.
Yeah, it looks like yeah, they're having maybe issues seeing the light.
Maybe. The light did go green and they did not move. There we go. The light goes green. Our first battle of the top 32 is underway, initiating in. Ahmed up front. Pontus chasing him down, doing a good job there through outer zone 1. Lots of switchbacks. Just that chase driver really has to be on their game to leave that lead way. Through each transition, his Pontus just grabs the bumper a little bit as they go into outer zone 6. A little bit of an angle correction there from the lead driver, but not enough to stop anything as they transition into that final outer zone. And look at that pressure that Pontus is putting on for that ending of the run.
Wow, what a start to top 32. We'll go to that replay here. Ahmed Al-Harbi out front in that BMW being chased down by Pontus Jacobson, doing a fantastic job at that, giving enough room there to let that lead car transition and then back onto the door, going up that hill, backs off right along that bumper there through that transition. But again, Oh, Harvey out front with a very good lead run. Very small correction there in that zone. Leaves the outside just a little bit, but settles in nicely to the last and final outside zone. Keeps things going. Look at Pontus right there on the door.
Yeah, Pontus doing a very good job there in that chase position, but now it's his turn to lead as he pulls up to that lead lane with Ahmed ready to chase him down for the second half of this run. And one of these gents are going to advance into the top 16, and we'll see who it is. As they get underway, the light goes green and off they go. Initiating in, good initiation by Pontus, but already the aggression from the chase in. Ahmed already on the door, giving him a few door taps. They come through outer zone 3, up into outer zone 4. The chase is wavering quite a bit compared to the lead of Pontus as they come into outer zone 6. Right around it and nice and tight to the door is Ahmed all over Pontus. They come into the final outer zone along the wall ride. A little tap there from Pontus, that lead lane, but Ahmed didn't give him any breathing room that entire run.
No, he sure did not. We'll take a look at the replay here. Pontus out front this time and doing a good job in this lead position. Until we get to outside zone 3, we'll take a look here. He transitions back, ends up a little shallow, and he's sort of off throttle for a split second there. Gets back onto it, gets back onto the right line, and Al Harvey's right there with him. And another small little bobble there leaves the outside in outside zone 6. But again, Al Harvey right there, keeping the fight going. There they go across that finish line with a fantastic start here to the top 32. And here we go to those judges. Al Harvey on the left, Pontus on the right. And Al Harvey's older car that he started the season with over there on the left. Good looking car as well, but we'll get that updated for him. We wait on these judges. Again, just ridiculous start to the top 32 in this difficult track.
Yeah, these drivers are already coming out swinging while we wait for that decision to be made. Just quickly on Alan Hines' battle there with Lazam. Lazam called his 5-minute timeout, and it's why we ran these drivers first.
Yeah, hopefully he can get that sorted as we want to see that battle. It looks like we've got a decision, and it is. It's going to be Al Harvey moving forward into the top 16. Unanimous decision from all 3 judges, but Pontus putting up a fight in that GTR, looking good, doing so as well. And yeah, I think both those drivers for putting on a show to start things off here in the top 32.
Definitely a good way to start it off as we have Alan Hines now in that Project Academy S15 up against Lazam in that A90 Supra in the chase position. They are lined up and ready to go. We wait for the tower to ignite. And off they go again. Alan Hines in that lead position. Lazam going to chase him down. Initiating in is our top qualifier. Alan Hines doing a good job there through outer zone 1. Transitioning now through outer zone 3. Lazam doing a good job at keeping that proximity just close enough for these transitions as they transition down the hill into outer zone 6. A bit of a gap. Lazam trying to catch up and get into that door of Alan Hines. They transition one more time into outer zone 7. Lazam really putting on the pressure, but hitting Alan Hines, forcing him to straighten out before the finish line.
Wow, interesting into the first half of that battle. We'll take a look on the replay here. Again, Alan Hines out front being chased down by Lazam. Alan doing a fantastic job through the first section of this course, filling that zone. Look at Lazam right there on the bumper, though, through these transitions. Alan doing exactly what he is supposed to be doing in that lead position and filling these zones very smooth down the hill there. Picks up that throttle, holds the angle nicely, keeps things going. Last and final transition, picks up that throttle, little bit of left foot brake, and there, yeah, it does look like he gets just a tiny tap up front on that front tire. It's going to be a close one. I know the judges will go back and take their time and maybe slow that replay down, because that one's close, very close. And here we go, Lazam out front this time. Entering in nicely. Could be a little bit deeper in the first outside zone, but keeps things going. Allen right there in that chase position. Applying the pressure coming up that hill. Lazam holding that momentum nicely though. Here's that D-cell down into this outside zone 6. Keeps things going nicely. Allen still right there with him, applying that pressure into the last and final outside zone along the wall. And there they go. Crossing that finish line. We'll go to that replay. Again, Lazam out front. Lazam was, again, doing a really good job in that lead position. It's all really going to come down to that wall run in the first half, I believe here, as everything stays relatively smooth throughout this run. Allen backing off here and there, sacrificing a little bit of proximity, and then reeling him back in when it's safe down this hill. Dropping back again for that transition. There's that big dive into that last and final outside zone from Allen. Again, Lazam doing good. We will go to those judges. Allen Hines on the left, Lazam on the right, and it looks like we've got a decision already, and it is going to be Allen Hines. And, you know, you got to think it's just going to come down to that contact.
Yeah, definitely. It's that contact in that first run that will turn that decision, as we have our next battle ready to go. Luciano Canero in the rotary-powered Corvette in that lead lane up against Ryan Literal in the Power Stop S15. The lights ignite and off they go to see who out of these two will advance on the first half of their battle. Initiating in, Luciano Canero right with him though is Ryan Literal. A little bit of a gap though coming out of outer zone 1, leaving enough room for the two transitions into outer zone 3, pushing up the hill now. Literal tries to close that gap as they transition down the hill into outer zone 6, getting on that throttle. Luciano with a good lead here, and just leaving Ryan Literal trying to play catch up to get back in that pocket as they come into outer zone 7, and a good lead run here from Luciano out front.
Very good lead run indeed. Looking very dialed out front is Luciano in that Corvette. We'll take another look at it here on the replay. Using all of that course, entering in, almost creating some contact there before initiation, but they keep things going. Ryan's sacrificing a little bit of proximity back there, but reels him in there coming up the hill just along that bumper there through these transitions. And then a very smooth entry into outside zone 6 there down the hill, staying on that track edge. Just very dialed and smooth lead run out front by Luciano.
Very much so. Well, now we'll get to see how Ryan Literal does out front and how Luciano Canero's chase is going to be. The Power Stop S15 driven by Ryan Literal in the lead lane. Luciano in the chase position. The light ignites and off they go for the second half of this battle. Ryan Literal initiates in, but Luciano right there with him, keeping a good proximity through outer zone 1. Transition along the bumper. Ryan Literal doing a good job out front here so far, almost keeping the same distance away from Luciano as they come through outer zone 5 and transition down for outer zone 6. A dive there from Luciano in that chase position to try and get back into the pocket of Ryan Literal as he has to back off just a little bit from that chase position. Really pushes up and puts the pressure on right as they end out the run.
Oh, another really good battle here in the top 32. We'll take another look at it. Again, second half of this battle between these two. Ryan Literal out front and placing that car right along the track edge for outside zone 1. Luciano right there along that bumper, but drops back just a tiny bit there for the second one. Reels him back in coming up the hill. A little bit off that bumper there. Ryan with a ton of angle through outside zone 5, and here we go into 6 right along that track edge, leaves it just a little bit, gets back out there nicely, and there Luciano on the bumper makes a little hiccup through the transition, but they keep things going as Ryan pours on that angle before the finish line. We'll go to those judges. Luciano on the left, Ryan Literal on the right. Again, winner will move on into the top 16. And we've got a decision already. Ryan Literal takes the win, moves on into the top 16. Unanimous decision from all 3 of those judges.
What a great job there from Ryan Literal, making his way into the top 16. I think this might be his first appearance in the top 16 as well. So very good job from Ryan there. As we have our next battle, Zach O'Sullivan in the Sim Magic Toyota Supra up against Erica Sirkis in his BMW. The light goes green and off they go. Zach initiates in, but right away on him is Ericus, but Ericus goes off and falls off the track completely, leaving it up to Zach now to complete this run. Zach is looking good out front, dropping a bit of tire into outer zone 4, but keeping it together as he doesn't have anyone on his door, and he's probably already looked over at some point and realized there's no one chasing me. It's a free run now, and just lay it all out and have a lot of fun.
Yeah, good way to finish it, and we will take another look, see if we can see what happened here. I mean, Zach O'Sullivan out front doesn't really even use a lot of the course and enters in nicely, and yeah, Erica's coming in just a little bit too hot, goes off the back of outside zone 1, and Zach continues on with a very smooth lead run, drops a little bit of a tire there, but keeps things going. Basically a practice run at this point, but there is a second half to the battle and anything can happen.
Well, that's the joys of the sport. Anything can happen. For my opinion, it just looked like maybe Erica's tried following Zach's speed into that first outer zone, but we'll see what happens on the second half. Ericus is now in the lead position, getting chased down by Zach O'Sullivan from that chase lane as they initiate in. Ericus out front, not making the mistake this time around and looking good. Zach keeping a good proximity as they transition through outer zone 2 and 3. They come up the hill. Zach puts on a bit of pressure before backing off for the transition. Ericus looking good out front, putting all the angle onto outer zone 6. Zach just sticking right with them, not being too aggressive, just putting that Supra exactly where it needs to be. Almost got a little too close to him at the end there, but finishes out the run.
Yeah, it got a little hairy there at the end. We'll take another look at this replay again, second half of the battle after Ericus unfortunately went off on turn 1. But he does a good job here out in this lead position. Zach still right there on the bumper through these first transitions. And this course drops back a little bit, playing it a little safe for this difficult turn, but plays it nicely there. Very smooth by both of the drivers. Smooth down into the last and final outside zone. There they go across that finish line. And we'll bring up the judges' decisions, but there they are, Chris. Already going left for Zach O'Sullivan. Ed and Matt. Zach O'Sullivan moves on, and we'll see him into the top 16.
Well, that'll be an interesting top 16 battle. Zach and Ryan battling it out in the top 16.
Oh, they certainly will, won't they? We'll actually pull up the bracket since that is the first group of the top 32 done and out. Alan Hines moves on. Al Harvey, Ryan Literal, and Zach O'Sullivan will have to face each other in the top 16. And up next, Tikhon Pileski, Samuel Cuddy, Brandon Patrick, Artem Chokov, Daniel Andreev, Oliver Eppinger, Uniwarnen, and Artem Makashenko will face off here in the top 32.
Yeah, and it's already looking like a good top 32 so far. I mean, those first few battles were already really close. And it's more of an interesting battle as we're so used to seeing the drivers get as close as possible. But here they got to be careful about doing that. They got to be able to judge the distance between the transitions and then get back in the pocket, stay right on them, and then transition right along that bumper. So I think that's where we're going to see a lot of crazy battles as we get through farther and farther along with our day.
Absolutely, and they're already showing, yeah, top 32 battles already have been outrageous. We've got a lot to go. All right, and that is last call from the judges. Drivers are now coming to the line. And again, Tikon Pileski and Samuel Cuddy.
Yeah, exactly. Tikon Pileski in that fresh auto S14 in the lead position up against Samuel Cuddy. Samuel did very well in qualifying. Here we go. Initiating it is Tikon right along that edge, but Samuel already trying to put down some pressure and match Tikon's angle through outer zone 1. They make the transitions through 2 and 3 as they climb the hill. And right away, Cuddy is sticking right with Tikon. Tikon transitions into outer zone 6. And look at that. Good job by the lead position. A little bobble there, though, from the chase and trying to keep up with Tikon. Tikon goes into the wall and bumps around. Maybe even straightens out. Whoa, two rounds in a row that we might not see Tikon pass the top 32.
Yeah, this is wild. We'll take another look at the replay here. Tikon, very nice through outside zone 1. Samuel making a little bobble there, but right along the bumper of Tikon out front as they work their way up this hill. Right along the bumper again for these transitions. Samuel maybe goes a little bit too deep on the angle there, but does a very good job to keep things going and back onto the door of Tikon Pileski. And there, Tikon just a little bit too deep into the wall. Crazy to see from Tikon out front.
Yeah, Tikon's normally so dialed in, but last round and now this round, we'll see if he can recover from that first half of the battle. Samuel Cuddy out front now with Tikon chasing him down. Initiating in, Samuel right with him though is Tikon right on the door. The closest we've seen anybody through outer zone 1 so far. Transitioning through outer zone 2 and 3. Look at that pressure that Tikon is putting on him. He knows the mistake he made and he's trying to make up for that as they transition down to outer zone 6. And right on the wheel, on the doors, Tikon Pileski onto Samuel Cuddy. And transitioning now into outer zone 7. Getting it on the door, hanging with them the whole way, pumping his better as they come across that finish line.
Oh my goodness. We'll go back to the replay regardless of what happens. Tikon putting on a show in that chase position. Here we go. Samuel throwing that car into outside zone 1, doing a fantastic job out front. Look at there, right along the bumper is Tikon, and then jumps into that pocket there, backs off for this transition, stays off a little bit, and then makes a huge dive into outside zone 6 right along the door there, hoping Samuel will make a mistake, but Samuel doing what he needs to do out front, keeping things going. Fantastic lead run, and look at there, door to door across that finish line. We'll go to the judges. Tikon on the left, Samuel Cuddy on the right. Winner moves on into the top 16. And there we go, we've got a decision already. Samuel Cuddy takes down Tikon Pileski and moves on into the top 16.
Wow. I mean, what a showing there from Tikon, but just that mistake in the first half of the run was not enough. But we swiftly move on to our next battle. Brandon Patrick in that Ferrari 599 up against Artem Cholkov in the Toyota Supra. Initiating in front is Brandon Patrick, looking good through outer zone 1. Good proximity there from Artem in that chase position, sticking right along that bumper as they come through outer zones 2 and 3, up through 4. Coming through now to 5, looking good so far. The pressure there from Artem in that chase position is immense through outer zone 6. One transition to go into outer zone 7, and Artem is not letting up, sticking right with them the whole way through that chase run.
He certainly did, putting on the pressure of Brandon Patrick in that Triple F performance. Ferrari will take another look here on the replay. Good initiation from Brandon. Artem sacrificing just a little bit of angle there through the first section of that outside zone, but staying with Brandon indeed as they work their way up the hill. Backs off as he needs to, gives that room for the bumper there of that big car. They pick up throttle at the same time, work their way through outside zone 6 and down this hill. Last and final transition, picking up that throttle together and moving through that outside zone door to door, and we'll switch them up.
We sure will. That was some amazing aggression there from Artem. He knew exactly what he had to do. So now we got it. Brandon, he has to answer back during the second half of the battle. Artem now in that lead position in the Toyota Supra. Brandon in the Ferrari, ready to chase him down. The lights go green, and the second half of this battle is underway. On the throttle, already smoking the tires down that straightaway. Initiating in is Artem, but right with them is Brandon Patrick in that big Ferrari coming through outer zone 2, transitioning into 3. Brandon putting on the pressure through outer zone 4. They transition through 5. Along the bumper is Brandon in onto Artem, slowing up just a little bit, leaving some breathing room. On outer zone 6, they transition down into 7. Brandon's got to get on that door, and he's trying, but Artem's pulling away ever so slightly as they cross that finish line.
Yeah, a little bit of back and forth there. We'll take a look at it on the replay this time. Again, Artem out front for the second half of this battle. Brandon Patrick giving chase in that big Ferrari. Both entering in nicely. Holding on to the same angle there. Brandon right along the bumper through these transitions. Up the hill. Giving just enough room. Back down the hill they go for outside zone 6. Artem doing a really good job out front, staying in that zone and staying smooth, committing to the line. Small little bobble there out front. Brandon staying with him though. There they go across that finish line. We go to the judges. Brandon on the left. Artem Chokov on the right. Winner again moves on into the top 16. And there it is. Brandon Patrick gets the win. And we'll see him in the top 16.
So Brandon Patrick advancing on into the top 16. He'll see Samuel Cuddy later on as we have our next top 32 battle in the last of this half of the bracket. The second last of this half of the bracket. Daniel in that lead lane up against Oliver Eppinger in the Toyota Supra in the chase position. The light goes on and off they go. Daniel off to a good start. Right away already, Oliver has that pressure on him. Look at that initiation into outer zone 1, leaving just enough room for that transition into outer zone 2. Now up the hill through 3 and towards 4. A little bit of a gap that Daniel has made on to Oliver as Oliver really throws that Supra into outer zone 6. Daniel doing a good job out front here, just putting that car where it needs to go, and a little too aggressive there from Oliver in that chase, hitting him with the rear of his car, but they keep it together and make it through outer zone 7 to the finish.
Yeah, interesting finish there as we take another look here on the replay. Daniel out front. Oliver Eppinger chasing him down right on the door from the get-go as they move through that first outside zone right along that bumper. Is Oliver in that chase position, but Daniel doing a good job out front as well, really driving out of that zone and into the next good transition down the hill with Oliver right there with him in that Supra. Right along that pocket, right along the bumper. Does get a little upset there through that last and final transition, but again, they keep things going and we'll flip them around for the second half of their battle. They are at the line, ready to go for their second half of the battle. Again, this time, Oliver Eppinger out front.
With Daniel giving chase. Oliver off to a good start, but Daniel already on the aggression as they transition through outer zone 2 and outer zone 3. Look at that through outer zone 4. Daniel right there on the door, leaving barely enough room for that transition through 5 and down into 6 as they come through outer zone 6 right now. Looking really close. Daniel putting on that aggression as they come through outer zone. Oh, a little tap there from that chase position, but I don't think that'll be enough to upset too much from that run.
Yeah, it's another interesting finish this time in the second half of the battle. Oliver Eppinger out front this time as we take another look at it here on the replay, entering nicely, filling that outside zone. A small bobble there from that chase position, almost straightened there as he really drove forward there to stay within proximity of Oliver Eppinger out front. But they keep things going, and Daniel right there in that pocket. Very good proximity along that bumper. And here they come. Yeah, slight tap off the wall there. And into Daniel, and they keep things going anyway. And we'll go to the judges. Daniel Andreyev on the left, Oliver Eppinger on the right in that Supra. Again, winner will move on into the top 16. It looks like we've got a decision already, and it is going to be Daniel getting the win and moving on into the top 16.
Yeah, exactly. Daniel getting that win there. I mean, looking at the replay myself, it does look like Oliver just kind of bumps into the wall there, and that's what causes the contact and the slowdown. So good job there from Daniel on getting that win, as we have our final drivers of the first half of the bracket at the top 32 already. Yuna Warnen in the BMW in that lead position, up against Artem Makushenko in the Toyota Supra in that chase position. We wait for the lights to ignite to get this battle underway. Off they go. Again, Yuna out front. Artem chasing him down, initiating in. Good initiation from the lead driver, but Artem putting on that pressure early as they transition along the bumper through outer zone 2 and transition out to outer zone 3. A huge bobble from that chase position as they come through outer zone 4, now down through 5 and into 6. Artem taking a really inside line there, trying to regain that proximity that he lost as they come into outer zone 7 now. On the door is Artem, but will that be enough for the mistakes that he made in his chase?
Yeah, Artem really getting caught up there coming into the second to last outside zone, the outside zone 6. But they start things out with a bang here. Yuna doing a fantastic job out front. Look at Artem right there undercutting, and maybe even a little contact there through that transition. It looks like Yuna might have gotten slowed down there. Very hard to see. Judges might have to go back, but look at there. Artem on the inside of the course quite a bit, but then working back down into the last and final outside zone. Artem is right there along that door, crossing that finish line.
Yeah, it definitely looked like an interesting situation that happened, but we'll see what happens in the second half of this battle. Artem now out front with Yuna giving chase as Artem initiates in with a good initiation, and Yuna just hanging back a little bit, not getting too aggressive off of that initiation through outer zone 1 as they come up the hill through outer zone 3. Yuna starting to push up onto the door of Art as they transition through 5 and down into 6 now. No mistake yet as they just come almost door to door as Artem swings that Supra around, but the chase driver does a great job to stick with them and stay on the door throughout all of outer zone 7.
Yeah, it looks like a couple of areas of the course, Artem really pouring on that angle to try and cause a mistake from that chase. We'll take another look at it here. Very nice through outside zone 1, but you see they're just really pouring on the angle before transitioning. It's actually something that the judges have pointed out in both drivers' meeting that they don't want to see. Now, Artem does a good job there in that section, and then nicely into here, and you see the whole tempo or the pace changes there with that angle correction. But Yuna doing a really good job in that chase position to really keep things going. And once more, really pouring on that angle out front is Artem in that Supra. And we go to the judges. Yuna on the left, Artem Makushenko on the right. Winner moves on into the top 16. And there it is. Unanimous decision. Yuna Warnen gets the win and moves on.
Great job there from Yuna. Did exactly everything he was supposed to do and got his win to move up to face Daniel in the top 16.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the first half of top 32 done. 6 or 8 drivers have already moved on into the top 16. Alan Hines, Al Harvey, Brian Littoral, Zach O'Sullivan, Samuel Cuddy, Brandon Patrick, Daniel Andreyev, and Yuna Warnen all moving on into that top 16, and we've got the second half of the battle of the bracket left to go. Ernestas and Kevin Stump will start things off.
Yeah, we knew battles were going to be crazy today, and already you just see some of the differences in some of the drivers on how aggressive they can get. I think the big one there being T-Con, showing us exactly how close you can get to drivers on this course, which it's sad we're not going to see him in the top 16 after he got beaten out by Samuel Cuddy, but it just goes to show that yes, you can get close, you can get that proximity, and you just got to go for it.
Yeah, really doing it in all the right areas too. Again, there's a couple of places here that you can't really be tied to that lead driver's door, and you gotta sort of fade back and give them room and let them transition for these Manji sections. And it takes a lot of discipline, a lot of focus, and it also requires that lead driver to do what they're supposed to be doing out front as well.
So here come our next battle. Ernestas versus Kevin Stump. Ernestas in that S14 in the lead position. Kevin Stump in the NOS Energy Drink Nissan Z. And the light goes green and off they go. Now initiating in is Ernestas. Ernestas looked beautiful in qualifying. Really inside though was Kevin Stump there off that initiation. Ernestas doing a good job in the lead position so far as the proximity starts to come back there for Kevin Stump. Transitioning down to outer zone 6, a good gap established. Kevin Stump just falling behind for speed of Ernestas through this course as they make one last transition into that final outer zone, and almost leaving Kevin Stump in the dust there.
Yeah, really good lead out front, and Kevin, yeah, as you pointed out, just struggling in a couple of areas in that chase position. We'll take another look here. Ernestas, good, big initiation, gets out to that track edge, drives out of there, smooth transition. Kevin's still right there along that door as they work their way up this hill. It comes up a little shallow there, and then here as well. Tries to get that car to drive forward back into that pocket, but Ernestas on a good line down that hill really carries that momentum into the last and final outside zone. And there they go across that finish line.
And back to the start line they are for the second half of their battle to see who will take the next top 16 spot. Kevin Stump now in that lead position with Ernestas ready to chase him down. Initiating in is Kevin Stump. Right with him is Ernestas, trying to hold that angle and get right close off the initiation. Backs off just enough for these transitions to happen as they come through outer zone 3 and start plowing up the hill. A lot closer is Ernestas in that chase position as they come into outer zone 6. Lots of speed from Kevin out front going off course, and Kevin falls off course from that lead position.
Yeah, an unfortunate one to see there, and our first victim to that second to last outside zone. We'll take another look here. Kevin Stump out front being chased down by Ernestas and entering in nicely. Very aggressive from Ernestas in that chase position. Kevin Stump doing a fantastic job in the lead position so far throughout the course. Does hang a little bit of a tire off, but here's that transition, hanging on to a bunch of speed and just can't quite keep that car on course. And it's tough there once you drop just a little bit of a tire, because that the edge is off camber from what the rest of the track is. It really kind of just brings you right off that track. And we'll go to the judges. Ernestas on the left, Kevin Stump on the right. I think we're going to see Ernestas move on into that top 16 after qualifying second today. He does. he moves on.
Ernestus moving on, and we go to our next battle, which sadly I believe is going to be a bye run. So Vladislav Yakulovich doing his bye run. Or sorry, Austin, whoa, looking at the wrong stuff here.
Yeah, it is. It is Austin
Zalewski.
Zalewski.
Yeah, so it was Ko Fonseca who couldn't make it to the line. I was looking at a different name there. I apologize, everybody. He does his bye run and moves on to the top 16. So with Ostaleski moving through, now this is why, because I knew this battle was a bye run, and that's why I got them confused. So Vladislav Yakulovich going for another bye run here, as Daryl Diaz sadly had to back out of top 32 competition today. So another bye run that we get to see, another good practice run for these drivers before their top 16 battles. And Vladislav, the teammate of Tikhon Pleski, once again advancing on to the top 16. This is the second round in a row that Tikhon Pleski has been knocked out before the top 16.
Yeah, it's insane to see, right? Just not normal from Tikhon, but we've still got some more rounds to go. And then, you know, we've seen a fire get lit underneath Tikhon before, and he move on to win every single event.
I was going to say, maybe this is his version of a hard mode. He just does really bad the first half and then really good the second half.
It's all planned.
We'll see what happens next round with him, as we have our next battle already underway. Brandon Gardner in the NOS Energy Drink Nissan Z up against Victor Alves in that S15. Good initiation for Brandon Gardner, but right with him is Victor Alves, almost pushing them through that transition as they come through outer zone 3 and climb the hill to outer zone 4. Little bit of a gap there from Victor Alves in that chase position, not quite getting into the pocket, but now into outer zone 6. He manages to get on that door, get in that pocket. They come into outer zone 7. Victor is trying to get there with them. Brandon staying ahead just a little bit.
Yeah, good start to this top 32 battle between these two. Brandon Gardner out front, Victor Alves giving chase. And good initiation from both of them, filling that outside zone. Victor might even been a little deeper back there in that chase position, giving up quite a bit of room there as they work their way up this hill. Playing it almost safe until there, makes a good dive on Brandon Gardner. Staying with him through outside zone 6. Last and final transition, and another dive from Victor right along that wall. And there they go across that finish line.
Well, here they come back to the start line now. Victor Alves will now be out front, and Brandon is gonna chase him down. And here they go. Victor Alves out front. Brandon Patrick both initiating in. Victor Alves looking good out front. A little bit of distance there through outer zone 1 between Brandon and Victor as they transition through outer zone 2 and 3. Coming up the hill now. Almost the same amount of distance between the two comparative to the other run as they come into outer zone 6. But ooh, 2 tires, 3 tires, and that's a spin from Victor Alves, getting overtaken there from Brandon Gardner.
Yeah, another one fallen victim to that second to last outside zone 6. We'll take another look at it here on the replay. Victor Alves out front and doing a fantastic job in that lead position up until that second to last outside zone. But look at their Brandon Gardner on the bumper through those transitions, as well as that one coming up over that crest, back down the hill here for outside zone 6. And there it is, just barely dropping a tire. And again, that change in camber there, once you drop a tire, it really pulls that car off. And that's an unfortunate end to that battle. We'll go to the judges here. Brandon Gardner on the left, Victor Alves on the right. But we imagine that is going to be Brandon's win, and we'll see him into the top 16.
Yeah, we definitely will. And what a good battle. What battles these have been, the whole day here. And with only a few more left to go for the top 32, today's going to go by really quickly. So make sure y'all are paying attention. You got your audio up, or you're watching us on whatever device you may be watching us on. And don't take your eyes off the action, because you just might miss it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll take another look at the bracket as this next group of drivers loads in and gets their little bit of practice runs in. We've got quite the group coming up next. Robert Kivsinski, Roman Kondratenko, Peter Polskivsky. I'm murdering that last name. I apologize. Nick Hang, Kawane Ebanks, Lukasz Tasiemski, Yasir San, and Maxime Tengai will all face off here in the top 32. Winner of those battles will move on into the top 16, and they've already been super exciting so far.
They really have been. I mean, as soon as I saw this layout go live, I was so impressed with it, and I was like, this is going to be one that it's going to separate the men from the boys a little bit for this season, as everyone's been so close. But now we're getting to see who can maybe push it a little bit further, and who can really bring the heat. So I think we're in for an amazing finish for today.
Yeah, absolutely. I was a little on the fence about this one, even doing it as a competition layout. It was somewhat planned for round one, and I think we all collectively went, maybe not for round one. But it's proving to be a fantastic round here so far for round three, the midway point. And it's definitely difficult. It's tricky. We will eventually release the track out to the public. It's not going to be right away after this round. There's still a couple of things I'd like to do with it before releasing it out into the public. So it will probably end up being Monday when this gets released. But Layout A should come with it as well. So all of these new textures, shaders, CSP grass, and of course those track objects like the start gate from Joka Design will all be on Layout A, the original layout.
Well, there we go. We got two tracks for free. 2 tracks in one.
For free.
For free. Yes, that's true. Just got to join up on the Discord. Make sure to like and follow us on all of our socials.
Murdered in the chat for murdering that last name. I apologize. Well deserved.
I read that.
Well deserved. I'm not even. Yep, it's okay. Oh, I think we're ready here.
I think we are. With our next battle ready to go underway, Robert Kavinsky up against Roman Kondratenko. Robert in that Nissan 370Z and Roman in that Toyota Supra. And man, that Toyota Supra body kit looks good. Initiating in. Robert out front with Roman doing a good job in that chase position through outer zone 1 as they transition into outer zone 3. Whoa, Roman getting a little spicy there, almost putting his front fender in front of Robert as they come through into outer zone 6 now. Robert doing a great job in that lead position. Roman just sticking with them and putting that Supra where it needs to be as they come through outer zone 7. Roman right there on that door through that last half of that outer zone.
Yeah, really good start, but a bit of a scrappy chase there from Roman Kondratenko in that chase position. Robert out front doing a fantastic job filling that first outside zone, gets up to the next one very nicely. And here we see Roman on the inside there, again, almost passing him in that chase position. They keep things going, and there he is, still on the door of Robert out front. Good transition, keeping things alive, and on the bumper as Robert pours on that angle before crossing that finish line.
Well, here they are at the start gate, switched around and ready for the second half of their battle. Roman Kondratenko out front, and Robert ready to chase him down as they come out of that start gate and initiate in. Good initiation from Roman out front. But right away, look at Robert almost touching the door out of outer zone 1, transitioning through outer zone 2 and 3, coming up the hill. A lot closer is Robert here as they transition into outer zone 6. A big gap established. Roman almost falling off track there, but Robert manages to regain that proximity that he just lost and keep with Roman as he almost straightens out in that chase position near the end.
Yeah, it's interesting to watch there. Ramon kind of similar to his chase run, but this time out front, sort of doing the same sort of tendencies, kind of stab you a little bit here, rather than being super smooth the way Robert was in his lead position. There's Robert right onto the door. Ramon's doing a good job here, but sacrifices a little bit there and then holds a bit too much speed, picks up throttle and almost brings the run to a halt, trying to stop that car from going off the back of outside zone 6. Picks that throttle back up really nicely through this last and final outside zone. There they go. We'll go to the judges. Robert on the left, Ramon on the right. Winner moves on into that top 16 spot. And there it is.
Oh,
Robert gets the win. He moves on.
I was going to say, could we maybe see our first one more time of the day? But nope, the judges have decided otherwise. As we have Peter now at the start gate, he's in that lead position in that Toyota Supra, up against Nick Hang in that S14 in the chase position. The lights go on and off they go. Down the straightaway and initiating in is Peter, but right with him is Nick Hang as they come through outer zone 1, leaving enough room for that transition into outer zone 2 and 3. Hang just putting it in a good spot for right now as they come through outer zone 4 and transition into 5. Not a lot of angle coming out of 5, but as they come at 6 here, Nick Hang starts to get it right on the pocket and on the door of Peter's Supra as they come through outer zone 7. A little touch there from that chase driver as they come across the finish line.
Yeah, we'll take another look at it here. The first half of this top 32 battle. Peter out front, Nick Hang giving chase, and look at the aggression from Nick Hang. He does have to fall back just a little bit though after that initiation, but he's right back onto the bumper for those transitions up the hill, matching that angle as Peter kind of rolls out of it a little bit. Has good angle there, and coming into here when he picks up that throttle, it's not a huge change in angle or a jerk. And that really opens the door for Nick. And then Nick makes that huge dive again in the last and final outside zone, drops back, and then back onto the door before crossing that finish line.
And here we go with the second half of this battle. Nick Hang now in that lead position with the Toyota Supra of Peter ready to chase him down. Off they go, initiating in is Nick Hang, but right with him is Peter. Look at that proximity through outer zone 1. He's got to back off, leave that room for the transition, Peter, as they come through outer zone 3. Look at the aggression from Peter in that chase as they come through outer zone 5, transitioning down now to outer zone 6. This is where it make or breaks it on the run. Looking good through from Peter in that chase position, but a big hit. That might upset it. Nick Hang hangs in there though and finishes out that run.
Literally hanging in there for dear life. We'll take another look at it here. Nick Hang out front in that S14 and chased down by Peter, and look at there, as you pointed out, that proximity is ridiculous. Right on the bumper there through that first and second transition, right back onto the door as they work their way up this hill. Again, right along the bumper, Peter being super aggressive in that chase position, but Nick being very smooth out front, filling that outside zone work down the hill, and there's that tap and that push, and Nick ends up into the wall. He keeps things going, but an interesting one for the judges here. Peter on the left, Nick Hang on the right. Again, winner will move on into that top 16 position. And it looks like we have a decision here. And it is unanimous decision for Nick Hang. He gets the win, moves on into the top 16, and we'll see him later on.
Nick Hang hangs it all out there and gets the win into that top 16 as we have our next battle here. Gawain Ebanks in that R35 GTR up against Lukasz Taziemski in that S15 in the chase position, ready to go for their next battle. And the lights go on and off they go. Wayne off to a little bit of a slow start, but makes it work for that initiation. But Lukash right there with them as they transition to outer zone 2 and 3. Maybe a little shallow there from Ebanks into outer zone 2. But looking at that chase, Lukasz Taziemski is all over him as they little bobbles and jabs, dobbles from the chase as he tries to keep up with Kawain Ebanks through outer zone 6, now to the transition 7. A lot of movement from that chase position, just looking a little unsteady.
Yeah, couldn't really quite get settled in, could he, there in that chase position from Lukasz Taziemski. Kawain out front in that big GTR doing a really good job in the lead position, though. So we take another look here on that replay. Very smooth through the first outside zone. You see Lukasz drop back a little bit for the first transition, but there he is right back onto the door in attack mode there, but ends up on the very inside of the course there for that second to last outside zone. Kawain dropping a little bit of a tire, but good transition down the track. And there's Lukasz applying that pressure again in the chase position.
Well, now back around at the start gate. Lukasz Taziemski in the S15 in the lead position. Kawain Ebanks in the R35, chasing him down for the second half of this battle. Initiating in is Lukasz, but right with him is Kawain. A little bit of a gap there through outer zone 1 as he leaves the room for the transition through outer zone 2 and 3 coming up the hill. Good proximity there from Kawain in that chase position as they come into outer zone 6. Not quite into 6 though was Lukasz. They both had to adjust to make sure they could stay with each other as they transition for the final time into outer zone 7. A touch there from Kawain before they finish out the run.
Absolutely. We'll take another look at it here. Again, this time Lukasz out front leading Kawain through this course. And looking good here through the first outside zone. Kawain dropping back, but then right there on the bumper for that first and second transition, right along the door, settles into the pocket, gives enough room for that transition. And here they go back down the hill where Lukasz dropping quite a bit of speed, maybe a little bit too much there. As he picks up throttle, he has to work that car back to the outside, and Kawain does so as well. And there they go across that finish line. We'll go to the judges. Kawain on the left, Lukasz on the right. Winner moves on to the top 16. And there it goes. Unanimous decision. All three judges. Kawain Ebanks gets the win.
Good win there from Kawain Ebanks. Moving on into the top 16 as we're on to our final battle of the top 32 here of the round 3 of the Virtual Drift Championship. We have Yasir Saad in that FD RX-7 up against Maxime Tingai in the S15. Initiating in, Maxime already off course, and that is a full 4 wheels off from the chase driver. So now it is just up to Yasir to finish out this run cleanly. If the chase driver does fall off, it is the lead driver still has to make his way around the entire course without a 0 fault. And so far, Yasir is doing exactly what he needs to do and brings that car across the finish line.
And does a good job doing so. We'll take another look at the replay here. Yasir out front, Maxime in the chase, and unfortunately goes off in turn 1. And there it is, just a little bit too much speed in that chase position. Has to maybe give it a little bit too much brake and work the car to the outside some more, and next thing you know, you're off the track. But again, Yasir continues on with this very nice lead run. Still in that outside zone, doesn't need to be all the way out there to the edge at this point. Doesn't need to be all the way out there to the wall. There he goes, finishing it out.
Well, here we go for the second half of the battle and our last battle of the top 32. Maxime Tingai now out front with Yasir Saad chasing him down. Let's see if Maxime gets this first outside zone correct this time around. He does, with Yasir Saad having a great proximity through outer zone 1 as they transition through outer zone 2 and 3. coming up the hill now. Yasir Saad staying within that pocket. Maxime doing a way better job out front here. So maybe it was just the nerves that got to him on that first run. But look at that proximity from Yasir, really putting it up on the door of Maxime Tin Guy. He just needs to finish out this run, and that'll be all she wrote for the top 32.
Yeah, we'll take another look at it here one more time. Between these two, Maxime out front and doing a good job this time in the first outside zone. Yasir still applying that pressure in that chase position right there along the bumper through those transitions. Follows him up nicely up the hill as they fill these outside zones. Drops back for this difficult turn outside zone 6 and then right back onto the door of Maxime as they continue on down the hill, and once more almost throwing it all away there, going backwards as Yasir Saad. Then they go across that finish line. We'll go to the judges one more time here in the top 16. Yasir on the left, Maxime on the right. And there it is. Yasir Saad gets the win and takes that last top 16 position. And we'll take one more quick look at the bracket here and how the top 32 played out. Alan Hines will face off against Ahmed Al-Harbi, Ryan Littoral, Zach O'Sullivan, teammates facing off, Samuel Cuddy, Brandon Patrick, Daniel Andreev, Una Warren, Ernestas Yakulibis, Austin Zalewski, Vladislav Yakulovich, Brandon Gardner, Robert Kavinsky, Nick Hang, Wayne Ebanks, and Yasir Saad. So we'll take a very quick break here in between the top 32 and 16, and we'll be back with more main event action here at Okayama International Circuit. All right, and welcome back, everyone. We are now into the top 16 here at Okayama International Circuit for round 3, brand new layout B. And we'll take another look at the bracket. Again, now that we're into the top 16, Alan Hines and Ahmed Al-Harbi are going to kick things off for us. And then teammates, Spotter versus the Spotted, as Tanner said. Ryan Literal and Zach O'Sullivan will face off next. Samuel Cuddy and Brandon Patrick, and then Daniel Andreev and Yuna Warren for our first group of top 16.
Yeah, it's going to be a good group indeed. These are going to be some fun battles. Now
Absolutely. The top 32 was insane already, and it's just going to continue on.
It sure is. It was sad to have 2 bye runs. We like to see battles all the time, but we'll see how this one plays out. The first battle of round 3 for the top 16. Alan Hines in the lead position up against Ahmed in that BMW, chasing him down. Already initiating in is Alan Hines, the huge flick entry, but Ahmed right there with them through outer zone 1. A little bit of raise of the rear bumper as they come through outer zone 2 and 3, coming up the hill. A little twitch there from that chase driver. Alan Hines on a mission here as he comes into outer zone 6, but right with him is Ahmed, sticking right on that door through outer zone 6. They transition down the hill into outer zone 7. Ahmed trying to keep that proximity and keeps it nice and close all the way to the finish line.
Yeah, we'll take another look at it here on this replay with Alan Hines out front, leading Al-Harbi through the course here in the first half of the first top 16 battle. Alan throwing that Pro Drift Academy S15 into that first outside zone, but Al-Harbi applying the pressure there in that chase position. Look at there, almost pushing him up the hill. Here they go, cresting over and back down the hill with Ahmad right there on the bumper through the transition, and then applying the pressure, sacrificing a little bit of angle there, but again applying the pressure. Alan Hines settling that car into that last and final outside zone, and there they are across the finish line for the first half of their battle.
And now back at the start line, ready for the second half of their top 16 battle. Ahmed out front, Alan Hines chasing him down. Ahmed's got to have a clean lead run here, initiating in. Looking good off the initiation. Alan Hines with some aggression through outer zone 1. Transitioning through outer zone 2, now into 3. Looking very clean. Whoa, a huge surge there from Alan to get right up on his door before the transition in outer zone 4. They come through 5, down into 6 now. Alan all over the door of Ahmed as he leaves almost no room for the transition into outer zone 7. And he's on the door, wheel to wheel through the finish line.
Oh my gosh. We'll take another look here. Ahmed Al-Harbi out front. Alan Hines giving chase, and look at there, almost causing contact before initiation. Alan ends up into the pocket right along the bumper of Al-Harbi out front. Al-Harbi not quite filling outside zone 3 the best he could, but getting 4 and 5 nicely. But Alan still applying that pressure, and look at the match of angle that Alan does here. Holds on to that same proximity, but matches the angle much better than Al-Harbi did in his chase position. It looks like a little push there from Alan Hines in that last and final outside zone. We'll go to the judges. Alan Hines on the left, Al-Harbi on the right, and what a top 16 battle here at Okayama. And look at there, quick decision from the judges. Alan Hines gets the win and moves on into that top 8, but great battle from Al-Harbi.
Yeah, great battle indeed. Like, I mean, Ahmed, what a battle you've had, and that was an amazing lead run. You did a great job. We'll see you in the next round as we move on to our next battle. Zach O'Sullivan in the Sim Magic Toyota Supra up against Power Stops S15. Ryan Literal, the spotter versus the spotted as they initiate in. Looking real good out front is Zach O'Sullivan with tons of angle. Ryan Literal sticking with them though as they transition through outer zone 2, now into outer zone 3 and up the hill. Ryan Literal doing a good job in that chase position to try and keep that proximity as they initiate or transition into outer zone 6. Coming around outer zone 6, doing a good job so far. Ryan Literal sticking with Zach O'Sullivan up front. Not as much angle though from the chase as he really pours on the angle right before the finish.
Yeah, good start to this battle between teammates here. We'll take another look. Zach O'Sullivan out front, rocking that purple Sim Magic livery this round and being chased down by, again, teammate Ryan Literal and his S15 flowing nicely through the course. Ryan drops back quite a bit there, but then reels him back in, coming up over the crest here at the top of the hill. Back down the hill they go. Ryan sacrificing a little bit of line there in that chase position, but then settles into the pocket nicely, right along the bumper of Zach in that chase position, and then falls off the angle and then right back onto it in that chase position. But again, Zach out front doing good.
And well, background at the start line. Now it's Ryan Literal's turn to lead with Zach O'Sullivan's time to chase him down. You know, I think we need to see a rematch of this battle, but with the IRL cars. So here they come, initiating into Outer Zone 1 already. Zach with the aggression through Outer Zone 1. Ryan Literal, though, getting through clean through Outer Zone 2 and 3. Here comes Zach O'Sullivan with a good proximity as they transition through Outer Zone 5, now into Outer Zone 6. Here they come, pouring on the angle. Both drivers matching it as they come through Outer Zone 6, now into Outer Zone 7. It's close onto that wall, but Zach's doing a good job to stick right with there and mimic everything Ryan did.
Yeah, Zach doing a good job indeed in that chase position, but Ryan doing a good job as well in the lead. But I think you're right, Zach was maybe a little smoother there in that chase position. Look at the proximity through the first outside zone. Very smooth transitions with Zach right along the bumper. And they continue on, cresting up over the hill. Now back down they go. And there's Zach right into that pocket. Very smooth on his angle in that chase position, as well as Ryan in the lead, settling in nicely to the wall. But again, Zach applying that pressure. We go to the judges. Ryan Literal on the left, Zach O'Sullivan on the right. Winner moves on to the top 8. And there it is. Student becomes master. Zach O'Sullivan moves on into the top 8. Fantastic battle between these two, though. And here we go to our next battle. Brandon Patrick out front, Samuel Cuddy in that chase position. Brandon throwing that big Ferrari in, but staying along that track edge. Samuel Cuddy in that chase position right along the bumpers as they move through the course and up the hill, filling that next outside zone. Good transition across from Brandon out front. Tons of angle, picks up throttle and holds on to that angle, works out to the track edge. Samuel Cuddy right there in that chase position along that bumper. Settles in nicely, keeps things going, and a little bit of contact before crossing the finish line. We'll take a look at the replay. Great first start to this battle here in the top 16 between these two. Again, Brandon out front, just throwing that car right along that track edge. Pulls away from Samuel a little bit in that first outside zone, but Samuel right there on the bumper. Through these transitions, falls back just a little bit there, and here we see Brandon just pour on a ton of angle, but when he picks up throttle, it really isn't much of an angle correction. He keeps things going, holds that momentum, transitions once more with tons of momentum as well, and then that tap from Samuel Cuddy in the chase.
Yeah, what a great battle to start things off between these two as they come back up to the line for the second half. Samuel Cuddy now in the lead with Brandon Patrick ready to chase him down. As the lights go on and off they go. Samuel Cuddy already off to a decent start out of the gate, but look at that, initiating together. Lots of angle from Samuel Cuddy out front through Outer Zone 1. Brandon's doing a good job to mimic it as he's on the door coming up the hill to Outer Zone 4. Transitioning along the bumper through Outer Zone 5. Down now to Outer Zone 6. Almost contact there from Brandon in the chase position, but he gets to angle and avoids that contact as he stays on the door through Outer Zone 7, touching wheels and almost pushing him through the finish line.
Yeah, good second half of the battle here as we take another look on the replay. Samuel Cuddy leading Brandon through the course this time. Settles in nicely to that track edge. Good transition across with Brandon right there on the bumper and then right onto the door as they work their way into outside zone 4 through 5 and back down the hill. Very smooth from Samuel, but look at the dive from Brandon Patrick. A lot of aggressiveness in that chase position. Drops back just enough for that last and final transition. Stays with him. Great proximity, no contact there. Before crossing that finish line, we go to the judges. Samuel Cuddy on the left, Brandon Patrick on the right. Winner moves on into that top 8. And we have a decision. Brandon Patrick will get the win. He'll move on into the top 8 after a unanimous decision from all 3 of those judges.
And a good job there from Brandon Patrick in that Ferrari, making another win, moving his way up as we have our next battle in the last battle of this half of the bracket. Daniel in that S15 up against Una Warnen. They're ready to duke it out. Let's see what happens here. Daniel initiates in. Una right there with him, though. Right on the door through outer zone 1 as they transition in through outer zone 2. Now into outer zone 3. Coming up that hill, Una with a good proximity. Daniel out front, holding his own in that lead position into outer zone 6 now. The chase of Una right on the door through outer zone 6. Leaves that room for the transition to happen into outer zone 7. And just sticks right with them and puts a wheel on the fender as they cross that finish line.
Yeah, scrappy chase run from Una Warnen in there as we take another look, but the lead run from Daniel out front looks fantastic here. Settles in nicely to the first outside zone, drives out of there, makes that transition across, really filling these zones nicely, holds this perfect line coming up the hill, but Una right there along that bumper, and then a good transition once more from Daniel, really opening the door for Una Warnen to really be there on the door, but pulls away quite a bit there. Really transitions with a ton of momentum, and they keep things going across that finish line.
They sure do as our drivers drive back up to the start line here. Una Warnen in the BMW now in that lead position with Daniel Andrejev in the chase in that S15. Off they go and initiating in. Right to angle is Una, but look at that, right on the door the whole way around outer zone 1 was Daniel as they transition through outer zone 2 and 3, trying to build that speed to get up to outer zone 4, touching the rear bumper of Una as they transition through outer zone 5, coming into outer zone 6 now. A big lunge there from Daniel in the chase as they come through and transition one last time into outer zone 7, putting it on the wall. Look at the proximity, almost matching that of Una from that chase.
Yeah, and here we go back to the replay. Una this time out front in the second half of this battle, being chased down by Daniel Andreev and doing a good job of doing so. Look at that proximity through the first outside zone, drops back for that first transition just enough, really tucking that front bumper underneath the rear of Una through all of these transitions. Very smooth into outside zone 6. Daniel falling back just a little bit there, but reeling him back in. But there, that last transition, and then right back on to the door. Just super smooth in both the lead and chase. And Una doing a good job in that lead as well. So it's going to be a tough one to hear. Daniel on the left, Una on the right. This one could maybe go either way, but I like that aggressionness and smoothness from Daniel Andreev in both the lead and the chase position. Yeah, definitely a tough one for the judges here. Taking their time. We've got a one more time. We've got one for Una and another one more time. So we are gonna line them back up again for the second time.
And the first one more time around 3. Who doesn't love more drifting? Let's see if they can maybe clean it up or whatever the judges wanted to see, or just have another all-out dogfight, try and take that final spot on the right side of the bracket.
Yeah, while we wait on them to pull up, we'll bring up that current bracket. Top 16, Daniel Andreev and Yuna Warren about to face off again for a one more time battle. See who moves on to the top 8 to face off against Brandon Patrick.
And both these drivers today have looked super great, like on paper, on their on-track performance. So let's see what they can do this time around. Daniel in the lead position. Yuna gonna chase him down. Daniel initiates in. Yuna right there with him as they come through outer zone 1. Not as aggressive as the first battle, but making it through outer zone 2 into outer zone 3. Yuna's got that proximity now coming through outer zone 4. Has to back off, allow for the transition. Daniel on a tear out front here, and a hit from Yuna in that chase position, but Yuna just magnetizes to his door and stays there around all of outer zone 6 and leaves a bit of a gap now through outer zone 7, but still finishes almost on the door of Daniel.
Yeah, about stood up out of my chair there. That entry into outside zone 6. We'll take another look at it here. Daniel out front this time. Again, one more time battle between these two. Daniel doing a really good job out front in that lead position. Once again, filling these zones. But Yuna right there along that door, falling back just a little bit to allow for those transitions. And then right back onto the door. Honestly, I'm not sure if there was contact that keeps things going so smoothly. Last and final transition into the wall. Keeping things going. And there they go across that finish line.
Well, back here at the start line, Yuna is in the lead position and ready to go for the second half of their one more time battle. Daniel has pulled up and looks like he's ready to go as well in that chase position. The lights go on and the second half of this one more time battle is on. Initiating in, Yuna right with them though is Daniel, and whoa, a bump there to Yuna, putting him off pace, but Yuna sticks with it as they come up into outer zone 4. Backing off a little bit now is Daniel as they try to match a little tire drop there from the lead as they come through outer zone 6. Look at this, right on the doors, Daniel to Yuna, putting on all the aggression as they come through outer zone 7. But what a lead run that Yuna was on here as they come across that finish line.
Yeah, absolutely, and a fantastic job to really keep things going as well. It's very tough here once you drop a tire to keep things going, and as you pointed out, that just that tiny little push, he's already on that track edge, so he ends up falling off, but gets right back onto it, and they keep things going, keep the excitement up. Small little tire drop from one of them there at outside zone 5 as they work down this hill through outside zone 6. Again, Daniel right there along that bumper through that last and final transition, staying with him through this last and final outside zone. We'll go to the judges, but I think it's going to come down to that unfortunate contact in turn 1 of the second half of the battle. Daniel on the left, Yuna on the right. And there it is. Yuna gets the win and moves on after a spectacular chase run. And then unfortunately getting hit from Daniel in that chase position and falling off the track. So that's it for the first half of the top 16. Group 1 done. Group 2 is going to load in now. Get a couple of practice runs. We'll take a look at this bracket. Up next, Ernestas and Austin Zalewski will face off in the top 16. Vladislav Yakulovich and Brandon Gardner. Robert Kavinsky and Nick Hang, Kuwayne Ebanks, and Yasir Saad.
I think we're in for another interesting second half of this top 16. I mean, it's just going to keep getting better and better the further down the order we go. Like I said, already seeing how the top 8's shaping out, it's going to get good.
Absolutely. Top 32 was spectacular as well. Top 16 so far. We just had our first one more time, which is somewhat surprising that that has been our first one more time so far. Battles have just been super close. Very exciting, tough course to really tackle, but the drivers, again, they're making it look easy today.
You know, that's the great thing about the pros. They make it look easy. As I've said earlier in the stream, I tried. I failed miserably.
You know, I came up with the course and it took me a while to figure it out. So, yeah, I was super frustrated with it and kind of, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of gave up on it for a little while. Came back to it. It was in the idea of doing round one here, and yeah, again, collectively, maybe not. Maybe not the best idea to use it for round one, which that led to Silverstone. Then Jonathan with the incredible update to Stirrup, and now we're here for this difficult layout for the midway point of the season.
I think it's a perfect track for the midway point, and I think it's an amazing layout. I think the drivers are liking it too, as we can tell from qualifying earlier and now our battles today. So our first battle up is going to be an Ernestus up against Austin Zaleski. They come to the line right now. So Ernestus in the S14, Austin Zaleski in that JZA80 Supra. The lights go on and off they go. Initiating and big flick initiation from Ernestus out front, but right with them is Austin, matching that angle perfectly through outer zone 1, coming through outer zone 2, transitioning into 3, now up the hill. Look at the pressure from Austin in that chase position, coming through outer zone 5, holding on to it a little bit longer was that chase position before making that transition. But look at that mimic from that chase, doing everything Ernestus is doing out front. A little bobble from the chase, but Ernestus out front is doing a great job with a little love tap from Austin at the end.
Yeah, good start to the battle here with Ernestus out front, Austin in that chase position. And this is really Austin's first actual battle here for round 3, as he got a bye run in top 32, but doing a good job in this chase position as Ernestus moves through this course swiftly here down the hill. Good momentum entering into this outside zone. But again, Austin right there with him along the bumper through the transition and then back onto the door, applying the pressure everywhere throughout this course.
And that's exactly it. And let's see what Austin can do now that he has the chance to lay down his lead run. Ernestus was on fire today in qualifying, so let's see what he does in the chase position. Off they go off the start light, initiating in, Austin out front. Ernestus falling behind a little bit through outer zone 1 as they transition into outer zone 2. Now 3 along the bumper was Ernestus, trying to get up into the pocket of Austin as they transition through outer zone 5. Now in outer zone 6, the make or break it point of the run. Wow, Ernestus is right up into that pocket, has to get on the brakes a little bit to not hit Austin out front. And now right in that pocket, right along the door as they finish out the run.
Absolutely, and here we go with that replay of the second half of their battle. Austin out front in the Supra, this time being chased down by Ernestus. And look at there, almost causing contact before initiation. Ernestus really going after it, but it doesn't quite pay off, does it, through that first outside zone. Has to make a dive here, almost gets caught up, but keeps things going. Austin doing a really good job in the lead. Settles in nicely. Look at there, right along that track edge is Austin in that lead position. Settles in nicely to the last and final outside zone, right along that wall. And there they go, door to door across that finish line. And we go to the judges. Ernestus on the left, Austin Zaleski on the right. Winner again moves on into the top 8. And here we go. We have a decision here. Austin Zaleski, he does get the win. Unanimous from all 3 judges. And we'll see him into the top 8.
Good job there from Austin with that wonderful chase that he put on. Just such aggression right out of the gate. As we move over to our next battle, Vladislav Yakulovich, Ekon Pileski's teammate in that fresh auto BMW, up against Brandon Gardner in that NOS energy drink Nissan Z. Down the straightaway they come and initiating in. Looking good out front for the lead of Yakulovich, but Brandon Gardner right there with them through outer zone 1, leaving that room for the transitions through outer zone 2 and 3. Look at that proximity coming up into outer zone 4, through outer zone 5, now transitioning down the hill through outer zone 6. Right along that track edge is Yakulovich out front, but Brandon Gardner not giving up any breathing room as they come through outer zone 7, door to door.
Very nicely done by both of these drivers here as we take another look at it. Vladislav out front, being chased down by Brandon Gardner. Smooth transition into the first turn there. Brandon dropping back quite a bit, but reels him back in quickly. Stays along that bumper as they work up the hill. And there they go, back down it. Vladislav very smooth into outside zone 6, right along that track edge. Brandon Gardner right there in that chase position. And it takes a while for Vladislav to get to angle there for that last and final outside zone, but he does. And Brandon stays with him across that finish line.
Now back around at the start line, Brandon Gardner in that Z in the lead position, and in the BMW, Vladislav Yakulovich chasing him down. Initiating in is Brandon side by side. Look at that proximity through outer zone 1 as they come through outer zone 2 now into 3. Almost not enough room there for the transition. Vladislav all over the door of Brandon Gardner as they transition down into outer zone 6. Almost contact, has to get on the brakes as the chase driver as they come and make one last transition into outer zone 7. Brandon Gardner's really on it here, but Vladislav is all over Brandon Gardner at the finish.
Yeah, really applying the pressure in that chase position is Vladislav, but Brandon doing a good job in the lead as well, really opening the door for him. And look at that initiation from Vladislav through this replay here, right along the bumper through that first and second transition. As you pointed out, it almost looked like there wasn't enough room, but I think it was just maybe a little lag there. They keep things going smoothly, like it didn't affect the run whatsoever. All the way out to the track edge. Last and final dive from Vladislav in that chase position. Staying with Brandon across that finish line. And we go to those judges. Vladislav on the left, Brandon Gardner on the right. Winner moves on into the top 8. Face off against Austin Zalewski. Tough battle between these two here in the top 16. Oh man, we've got a decision here, and so it is going to be a one more time. Chris and Ed both choose one more time. Matt chooses Brandon Gardner, and we're going to line him back up.
Another one more time battle here in the top 16. Make or break to make it to the next part, which is the top 8. So, Vladislav Yakulovich in the lead position in the fresh auto BMW up against Brandon Gardner in that NOS energy drink Nissan Z. For the one more time battle, let's see how this one goes. Lights go on and off, they go. Initiating in, side by side, both of them through outer zone 1. A little proximity there, but good match on the angle as they come through outer zone 2, now into outer zone 3, coming up the hill. Brandon doing a good job in that chase position to just mimic everything that Vladislav is doing as they come through outer zone 6. A little bobble there from the chase position as they come through outer zone 6 and transition down the hill into outer zone 7. Along that wall, into the wall a little bit goes Vladislav and lets Brandon catch back up near the end.
Yeah, almost shutting the run down in that last and final outside zone. We'll take another look at it here. Vladislav out front. Big initiation in. picking up throttle early and staying along that track edge, but this time Brandon Gardner right on the bumper through those transitions, right into the pocket coming up the hill, sticking with him much closer there through that transition and down into outside zone 6 as well, where he falls off just a little bit there, but reels him back in, sacrifices a little bit of angle there towards the final part of it, but then makes a good transition down. There we see Vladislav into the wall just a little bit, and there they go across that finish line.
We are back at the start line with the second half of this one more time battle. Brandon Gardner out front, getting chased down by Vladislav Yakulovic. Initiating in, here they go, side by side through outer zone 1. Almost the same amount of proximity, maybe a little bit closer from Vladislav as they transition through outer zone 2 and 3. Up the hill, Vladislav touching the door of Brandon Gardner as they transition through outer zone 5. A little dirt kicked up there as they try to transition into outer zone 6, but maybe a little bit of a hiccup there from either the lead or the chase as they transition down the hill along the wall. And right on his door is Vladislav.
Yeah, interesting there coming into outside zone 6. We'll take another look at it here on the replay. Brandon Gardner out front being chased down by Vladislav, and look at that initiation from Vladislav. Definitely learned that from teammate Tikon as they move through this course. Vladislav right there on the bumper and the door, working up the hill. Good transition across from Brandon and into this outside zone, but it looks like a lot of speed was dropped. Brandon picks up throttle on time though. It's a tough one to see because at the same time Vladislav makes a huge dive as well. So it could be maybe messing with our eyes a little bit. We'll wait on the judges though. Let them make that tough decision once again here. Man, one more time battle between these two. So this is the second time judges have to make a call between these two. Vladislav on the left, Brandon Gardner on the right. Well, and it looks like we have a decision. Vladislav, he's going to get the win. He's going to move on into the top 8 where he'll have to face off against Austin Zalewski.
What a hard-fought battle between those two. Vladislav Yakulovic getting the win and moving on as we can progress now through the top 16 to our next battle, which is Robert Kavinsky in that Nissan 370Z up against Nick Hang in that Nissan Silvia S14. Off they go through the start gate. Initiating in is Robert, but right with him is Nick Hang as they come through outer zone 1. Almost on the door was Nick Hang as he leaves the room for the transition from Austin as they come up the hill now to outer zone 4. Still sticking with them is Nick Hang as they come through and initiate or transition into outer zone 6. Looking good through outer zone 6, maybe even a little deeper was Nick Hang through that zone as they come into 7 now for the wall ride. Nick Hang throws on a lot of angle right near the end and luckily enough doesn't hit the wall.
Yeah, but really fell back quite a bit there. We'll take another look at it here on the replay. Robert out front in that 370Z and looking good in that lead position, but Nick Hang right there along that bumper does sacrifice a little bit of line, makes a big stabby dive there for outside zone 3 and up the hill. Staying with Robert out front, who is doing a fantastic job once again in that lead position. Filling that outside zone. Nick Hang right there with him. Ends up a little bit on the inside, straightens up just a little bit, but yeah, and then gets big time into the angle and sort of offline there through that last and final outside zone and falls back quite a bit.
Now back around at the front. Nick Hang ready to lead the second half of this battle. Robert Kavinsky is going to chase him down. Initiating in is Nick Hang, looking good so far, but already that proximity from the chase driver all over Nick Hang as they come through outer zone 3 and up to outer zone 4. Robert leaving no room for error as they can transition into outer zone 6. It got super close there, but Robert manages to just hang on to it and not make contact as they transition into outer zone 7. Robert not leaving him any breathing room at all to the finish.
Yeah, really close one there coming into that second to last outside zone 6. Nick Hang out front here on the replay. Robert giving chase, very good proximity and chase angle. from Robert. Good lead out front as well from Nick Hang. He looks much more settled here in this S14. But again, Robert right on the bumper through these transitions. And there you see Nick Hang almost coming to a stop there. Robert making a big dive as well, but doing a good job not to run him over. We see the car almost go up on 2 wheels there. He was dropping so much speed out front. We'll go to these judges. Robert on the left, Nick Hang on the right. Winner moves on to the top 8. And it looks like we have a decision. And Robert gets the win. He moves on into the top 8, where he'll face off against the winner of our next upcoming battle.
And our next battle is already at the line and ready to go, and it's our final battle of the top 16. Kawain Ebanks in the GTR 35 in the lead position up against Yasir Saad in that FD RX7 in the chase lane. As the lights go on and off they go, the start of this battle, Kawain initiates in. Yasir right there with them as they come through outer zone 1. A little bit of a gap there between the two as they transition through outer zone 2. Now 3 coming up the hill. A huge surge there from Yasir in that chase, pushing Kawain in the lead as they transition now into outer zone 6. A little back off was Yasir, but starting to regain that proximity that he lost as they transition down the hill to outer zone 7. Another hit from the chase driver, but it doesn't upset the lead, and they finish out the run.
Yeah, interesting first half to this battle. We'll take another look at it. Kawain out front in his big GTR being chased down by the much smaller FD RX7 of Yasir Saad, but he's doing a good job doing so. Not quite the proximity we really want to see, but smart nonetheless, and then gives him a tap right along the bumper through these next set of transitions. Very smooth into outside zone 6. Kawain working that big GTR out to the track edge. Yasir Saad making a huge dive, giving him a bump. Kawain keeping things going, as well as Yasir Saad, and we'll switch them up for the second half of their battle.
We sure will, and they're already back at the line and ready to go. Yasir Saad in that FDRX7 in that lead position. Kawain Ebanks chasing him down. The final battle of the top 16, initiating in is Yasir Saad. Right with them is Kawain, getting close to that door as they transition to outer zone 2. Now into 3, right along the bumper was Kawain Ebanks, holding a good proximity away. A little tire drop there from the lead as they come through and transition down into outer zone 6. Sticking right with them is Kawain. I'm amazed he's even able to see that RX-7 in front of him with how big the GTR is, right along the rear bumper around outer zone 7. And Kawain sticking right with Yasir that whole way around.
Yeah, we'll take another look at it here. Second half of this top 16 battle between these two. Yasir Saad out front here on the replay. Good initiation. Tons of speed there. Great momentum, but Kawain right there on the bumper in his big GTR. Staying with that RX-7, working up the hill. Fantastic momentum here. Very smooth decel into outside zone 6. Picks up that throttle. No correction in that angle. Keeps things going. Very nice transition to finish things off, settling into that wall. And we go to the judges. Kawain on the left, Yasir Saad on the right. Winner moves on into the top 8, the last and final slot, where they'll face off against Robert.
Or we could watch them go one more time.
It could be possible. We've already seen one. It looks like we have a decision, though. Oh, is it going to be split here? We're waiting on the last and final judge, Kawain Ebanks. He gets the win with a split decision. Chris and Matt chose Kawain. Ed chose Yasir. But Kawain's going to get the win and take that last and final top 8 slot. We'll take a look at the brand and how it's played out and what's upcoming. Alan Hines and Zach O'Sullivan in the top 8. Brandon Patrick, Una Warren, Austin Zalewski, Vladislav Yakulovich, Robert Kavinsky, and Kawain Ebanks. Holy moly.
So it looks like we have our next battle and the start of the top 8 coming to the line. Alan Hines in the Pro Drift Academy S15 up against Zach O'Sullivan in that Sim Magic JZA80 Toyota Supra. Now this is a bit of a grudge match when these two ever meet up, and every time they do meet up, it is always a fantastic battle, and they're here in the top 8 to see who's going to progress further. Only one of them can. The lights go full on, and off they go. Down the straightaway they come, initiating in. Alan Hines right there, but alongside him is Zach O'Sullivan, leaving a bit of room as they transition to outer zone 2. Outer zone 3 now along the bumper with Zach O'Sullivan to Alan Hines. Alan Hines pulling out a little bit of angle there to get ready for the transition to outer zone 5. Down the hill through outer zone 6, pushing as hard as he can. Zach O'Sullivan staying within that pocket and transitioning down the hill into outer zone 7 now. Alan Hines doing an amazing job out front, and Zach sticking right there with him.
Yeah, we'll take another look at it on the replay here. Again, Alan Hines out front here in this top 8 battle. Zach O'Sullivan giving chase and throwing it in to the door of Alan Hines through outside zone 1, right along that bumper through these first set of transitions. Alan doing a great job out front, filling these outside zones and staying on the proper line. Good transition across, working down this hill along that track edge. Zach O'Sullivan right there behind him, and then gets caught up just a little bit on that last and final transition. Sacrificing a little bit of that line, and we'll flip them around for the second half of their top 8 battle.
Well, they are back at the start, and chat, let's hear who you want to win, and we'll see who's going to win. Zach O'Sullivan in the Sim Magic JZA80 Supra up against Alan Hines in that chase position in the Pro Drift Academy S15. This is only the top 8. Let's see what you got, boys. Lay it all out there. Initiating it is Zach O'Sullivan. Right with him, though, is Alan Hines, about the same distance away, matching that angle good, though, through outer zone 1 into outer zone 2, right along the bumper through outer zone 3. Zach starting to pull away, though, through outer zone 4 as they hit outer zone 5. A little tire drop there from the chase driver as they come into outer zone 6. Zach looking phenomenal out front. Alan Hines keeping right there in the pocket, though, as they come into outer zone 7. Alan Hines giving him a little nudge before they hit the finish line.
Yeah, insane battle between these two. We'll take a look at the replay of the second half of the battle. Zach out front, leading Alan through this course nicely. Tons of angle there. Smooth transitions across, but Alan right there along that bumper, but gets left behind a little bit. Coming up the hill, Zach transitions back to the left, maybe a little late, but keeps things going back on the right line for outside zone 6. Alan right there in that chase position, makes that last and final dive along that wall and along the door of Zach O'Sullivan. And we go to the judges for the first time here in the top 8. Alan Hines on the left, Zach O'Sullivan on the right. Winner moves on into the final 4.
Or could we see them go one more time? Because I think everybody just wants to see them go one more time.
It's always a possibility getting into these the deeper end of the bracket. It looks like we might have a decision, though. And it is. It's going to be Alan Hines getting the win and moving on into the final 4, taking down Zach O'Sullivan.
Well. With this condensed season, I mean, that'll be interesting to see how the points end up going on that one as we move quickly on to our next battle. up against Una Warren in that lead position in the BMW, and Brandon Patrick in the chase in that Ferrari 599. The lights go on and this battle gets underway. Down the hill they come and initiating in. Huge snap there from Una out front, but Brandon mimicking it perfectly through outer zone 1 as they transition to outer zone 2. Now into outer zone 3. Brandon looking for that line and staying a little deeper into that outer zone that Una did out front. As they come into outer zone 6 now, Una trying to get it out there to the track edge. Brandon having to make some adjustments in the chase to make up for it as they come into outer zone 7. Looking good through outer zone 7. Brandon kind of wavering around in the chase, but making it work through to the finish.
Hey, it certainly does, and we'll take another look here. Una out front in that smaller BMW being chased down by that big Ferrari, and Brandon doing a really good job doing so, but so is Una out front, keeping things going, filling these outside zones. Brandon locked in coming up the hill there, right on along that bumper through both of those transitions. And here Una getting a little upset there, doesn't quite get the car to the angle I think he wanted, but keeps things going in that outside zone. Brandon doing a good job in that chase position, and there they go, finishing out the first half of their battle.
And now here they go for the second half of their battle. Brandon Patrick out front. Una Warren now going to chase him down. Brandon initiates in, looking good off the initiation right along the track edge, but Una right there with them as they transition into outer zone 2, now into outer zone 3, coming up that hill. Look at that proximity from Una, gives them a tap though, and Una I think straightens out from that chase position. It gives Brandon a huge burst of speed, but Brandon sticks with it as Una's seen there in the background after backing out almost completely of this run, and Brandon comes across that finish line.
It certainly does. We'll take another look at it. Very interesting one here. It almost does maybe look like a little bit of lag here from one of these drivers. Honestly, it looks, I think Brandon was, relatively smooth, and it was Una in that chase position. And here it comes right here at the top of the hill. Yeah, just a big surge in that chase position in outside zone 4. Brandon keeps things going anyway, but it certainly shut down Una's smaller BMW back there. There he goes across that finish line. We'll go to the judges, maybe give them a little bit of time to really dissect that one. But it might be clear there. Just a big surge. Very interesting.
Yeah, rewatching it on my screen here, it is an interesting, just weird surge. Like, it's hard to explain. I haven't seen much of that before.
Yeah, especially on this course. Yeah, I don't think we've seen much of contact there anyway, but it does look like we have a decision. Brandon Patrick gets the win, unanimous decision from all 3 of those judges, and we'll see him into the final 4.
What a good drive today, though, from Una Warren, and give yourself a pat on the back that you've done amazing all day. Yeah, sometimes internet be like that. As we move on to our next battle here, Austin Zaleski versus Vladislav Yakulovich. Vladislav picking up where his teammate sadly got knocked out. Now Vladislav is again during this round here to pick up the points for himself and his team, hopefully. Initiating in is Yakulovich, but right with him is Austin as they come through outer zone 1. Austin doing a good job to mimic his angle through outer zone 1, transitioning through 2, now through 3. Austin's really having a bit of a bobble up that hill, but Yakulovich doing a good job out front here as they come into outer zone 6. Looking really good between these two. Austin closing that gap and getting on the door of Vladislav as they come into outer zone 7, and right there on the door the whole way past to the finish line.
Yeah, we'll take another look at it. Indeed, here Vladislav out front in that BMW being chased down by Austin Zalewski in that 880 Supra, super aggressive initiation in that chase position. Falls back a little bit, but then reels him back in for these transitions right along the bumper and then on the door coming up the hill. But he does have a couple of wibble wobbles back there in that chase position. Picks up throttle nicely, both of those drivers for outside zone 6, and then a big dive in that chase position from Austin Zalewski. There they go across that line. Really, Vladislav being pushed across the line.
Well, we'll see how things unfold in the second half of their battle. Austin Zalewski out front with Vladislav Yakulovic chasing him down. Off they go from the start gate. Second half of their battle's underway, initiating in, looking good. Vladislav sticking with him, not really matching that angle though through outer zone 1 as they come through outer zone 2, now into 3 up the hill. A little wobble there from Vladislav in the same spot, but catches up to Austin in that lead position, coming into outer zone 6 now. Good job by the chase driver to be right with Austin as they transition to the final outer zone. Right on the wall, and a good job by both these guys. What a show.
Yeah, holy smokes. Very even back and forth between these two in this battle. I think it's going to be tough for these judges here as we take another look at the second half. Again, almost some contact from Vladislav, really going after it in that initiation. Good transition across by both of these, right along the bumper. And then, as you point out, yeah, a slight little waver there. Maybe not as bad as Austin Zalewski's, but similar nonetheless. And there they are, smooth into outside zone 6. And then another big dive from Vladislav in that chase position, but it does kind of take him a while to really reel him in before crossing that finish line. We'll go to the judges. Austin Zalewski on the left, Vladislav Yakulovic on the right. Or could we see them line up once again for one more time? Oh, no, it looks like we might have a decision here already. Oh, is it going to be a split? It is a split indeed. Austin Zalewski actually gets the win with Ed and Matt, and Vladislav getting a decision from Chris, but not enough to take home the win.
There it is, Austin moving up to the final 4 as we have Robert Kavinsky now at the line in his Nissan 370Z up against Quayne Ebanks in that Nissan GTR 35. And they're ready for the final battle of the top 8. See who moves on to face Austin Zalewski. The light goes on and off they go. Robert flicking it in for that initiation, looking good, but there's Quayne right there with them as they transition to outer zone 2. Looking good so far through 3. Quayne starting to apply that pressure up into outer zone 4, transitioning through 5 now, and now down into 6. Robert doing a good job in that lead, pouring on that angle, getting a little tap there from the chase driver of Quayne as they come through outer zone 7 now. Quayne starting to regain that proximity he lost from having to get off the throttle there through outer zone 6.
Yeah, here we go with the replay of the first half of this final top 8 battle. Robert leading Quayne through the course and doing a fantastic job through outside zone 1. But look at Quayne right there in that chase position and then making the dive, choosing when to be on that door and when to be on that bumper. Following him nicely into outside zone 6. Robert struggling a little bit to really get that car onto angle, but smooth nonetheless, keeping things going. Quayne right there. And we'll flip things around for the second half of their battle.
We sure will, as the second half of the final battle of the top 8 is about to get underway. Quayne Ebanks in the GTR out front. Robert Kavinsky chasing him down in that 370Z, initiating in. Looking good so far for the lead, but look at that proximity from Robert, almost pushing him through outer zone 1 as they come through outer zone 2 and transition into 3. A big hit from Robert into Quayne Ebanks, but they keep it together and they keep going and hold it through outer zone 5. Transition down into outer zone 6 now. Still on the door is Robert, not giving up, hoping to make up for that big mistake, and another hit, pushing Ebanks into the wall and ending this run.
Yeah, an unfortunate way to end things. We'll take another look here. Quayne out front, Robert giving chase. And just when we thought the championship points were really going to get shaken up, It's really getting shaken up now. Kuwait doing a good job in that lead position. But there, as you pointed out, just a huge dive from Robert in that chase. Very interesting indeed, as Kuwait is able to keep the car on the course even after that big hit. And then here we go again, another big one. But that one sends him into the wall, shuts the run down. And it will go to the judges. Robert on the left, Kuwait on the right. Again, winner is on into the final four. Last and final slot for the final four. Judges taking their time with this one, evaluating, I think possibly looking at that first bit of contact, as it might be a little interesting that Kuwait really didn't get punted off at all, but at the same time, I guess he got hit towards the rear of the car, which would add angle and kind of help make him stay on the course. But yeah, as long as he was on throttle there in that section of the course, and there it is, Kuwait, he gets the win, he moves on, takes that last and final spot in the top four.
Well, big round of applause there to both those drivers. And Robert, we'll see you at the next event as Kuwait Ebanks, he moves on, and now we're getting to the finals. The top four. First battle up, Pro Drift Academy own Alan Hines in that S15 up against the beautiful Triple F Ferrari 599 of Brandon Patrick. Gonna wait for these judges to ignite the starting tower, and off they go. Alan Hines out front, Brandon chasing him down, initiating in, looking good out front already is Alan, but getting onto the door is Brandon Patrick as they transition along the bumper through outer zone 2 and 3, coming up the hill now to outer zone 4. Brandon fighting to stay within proximity of Alan Hines as they come down the hill now into outer zone 6. Alan Hines doing a good job out front to stay out there. Brandon fighting all his might to keep within proximity range of Alan Hines, and there it is along the door all throughout outer zone 7, finishing out the first half of this run.
Yeah, insane first half as well. Alan Hines out front, leading Brandon Patrick through this course and doing a good job doing so. Settles in nicely to the first outside zone, but look at Brandon Patrick in that chase position in that big Ferrari right along the bumper through those transitions. Makes a dive there as they come up the hill. Resting over it now through outside zone 5 and back down the hill into outside zone 6. Very, very smooth indeed. Alan pulling away a little bit, but there's Brandon right back again into the fight and into the door of Alan Hines before crossing that finish line.
And here they are for the second half of their battle to see who's going to move on to the finals. Will it be Brandon Patrick? Will it be Alan Hines? Brandon Patrick in that lead position. Alan Hines ready to chase him down. And they start the second half of this battle. Initiating in, Brandon Patrick right to the track edge, picking up a bit of dirt. Alan Hines sticking right there with them through outer zone 1. Those they transition through 2, now into 3. Tons of angle from Brandon Patrick out front. But Alan Hines sticking with them all the way through outer zone 5. Now into the transition of outer zone 4 or 6. And almost Alan Hines pushing them through that outer zone as they transition one more time into outer zone 7. And Alan Hines right on the door the whole way around.
Yeah, really applying that pressure. And honestly, I think he might have even saved Brandon there in that second to last outside zone. We'll take another look here on the replay. Brandon dropping a tire there, but does a really good job to stay back onto the course. Alan Hines doing a good job in the chase position, also to not make contact. He does drop back quite a bit there for that transition, but then right back onto the door. And as you can see, Brandon, he really set into quite a bit of angle, dropped a ton of speed, and then got a little push back out to that outside. But fantastic job in the last and final outside zone by both these drivers. And we go to the judges. Alan Hines on the left, Brandon Patrick on the right. Again, winner moves on into the finals. And there we go. We have a decision quickly there. Alan Hines gets the win, and we'll see him in the finals.
Alan Hines moving into the finals, with Brandon Patrick moving to the third place bracket as we have our next battle. Wayne Ebanks versus Austin Silveski. Wayne in that GTR 35, Austin in the JZA 80 Supra. The lights go on, and let's see who's going to face Alan in the finals. Initiating in is Wayne Ebanks, looking solid, but Austin all over his door through outer zone 1. As he transitions into outer zone 2, now into 3, looking clean, but Austin is all over him as they come through outer zone 4, now through 5, transitioning down into 6, but oh, too much speed from the chase driver, pushing Wayne off course and into the wall.
Yeah, really unfortunate one to see there. We'll have to wait on the replay to really analyze what in the world happened there. Here we go with that said replay. Wayne out front in the big GTR, Austin Zalewski giving chase. Good initiation by both these drivers. Look at that proximity from Austin Zalewski. Good lead out front, very nice and smooth from that GTR. Little hesitant there through 3, but here comes that contact. Yeah, honestly, it looked very smooth from Wayne Ebanks out front. It looks like he even picked up throttle when he should, when that right around where the zone starts, and just got an unfortunate tap there, especially with, again, how if you go really deep in those rumble strips, because we're running backwards on the course, they just get worse and worse, really taller and taller. And it looks, maybe right around where they make contact.
Exactly. Well, now we have the second half of their battle already underway as they come out of the start gate. Austin out front, Wayne Ebanks ready to chase him down as they come through outer zone 1. Wayne sticking back just a little bit as they transition along the bumper through zone 2, now through 3. Wayne's just got to put that car where it needs to be as they transition through into outer zone 5, now down into 6. Looking good so far from Austin out front, but Wayne keeping that car exactly where it needs to be. Doesn't need to be too adventurous here as Austin goes into the wall and straightens out himself.
Yeah, another unfortunate one to see there. We'll take another look at it on the replay. Austin out front in that Supra and was doing a fantastic job up until then. Wayne as well in that big GTR, right along the bumper as he should be through these transitions. Austin doing what he needs to do in the lead, just dropping half a tire there through that outside zone, very smooth into outside zone 6. You see Wayne super deep there as they settle in. And last and final dive, and it just looks like there's a little bit of that angle dialed out of that Supra and ended up giving the wall a tap, straightening out before crossing that finish line. So we'll go to the judges. Winner moves on into the finals to face off against Alan Hines. And there it is quickly from all 3 of those judges. Wayne Ebanks gets the win. We'll see him into the finals, but we'll see Austin once more as well for our third place battle.
And we'll see him right away here as well. Brandon Patrick up against Austin Zalewski. So Brandon in the Ferrari. Austin, as we just saw, in that Supra. Who will take third place today? We're about to find out as their battle gets underway. Out of the start gate clean and down the straight they come. Brandon's going to initiate in. Austin right there with him though, off the initiation, right on his door through outer zone 1 as they transition into outer zone 2, kicking up a bit of dirt was that lead driver as they come up through outer zone 4 now, sticking right on the, oh, huge hit from behind from Austin Zalewski. I don't know what happened there. It just looked like a huge surge forward and went right to the back of Brandon's Ferrari as they come down the hill now into outer zone 7. And keeping on him is Austin Zaleski, but I'm sure that contact will be looked at.
Yeah, it's interesting, especially after the battle that we just saw with Austin Zaleski. I now wonder if he's maybe having some packet loss here. Keep looking up in the top right-hand corner, make sure my ping's okay, and it definitely looks consistent. It's as I'd hate for, you know, it'd be something server side, but it all looks smooth here up until right there. Another quick surge from Austin Zaleski makes contact, kind of shuts the run down for that chase position. Brandon does a good job to keep things going. Really not so much affected is Brandon out front in that big Ferrari. There they go across that finish line. We'll switch them up.
Yeah, even myself, I've been keeping an eye on that wonderful ping in the top left corner, and it hasn't moved for me. So who knows what issues Austin's facing, but now Austin, for the second half of their battle, is in the lead position, and Brandon will be chasing him down. Off they go, initiating in. Brandon right there with them, looking good as they come through outer zone 1. Tons of angle from Austin out front, going through outer zone 2, now into outer zone 3. Brandon doing a good job to mimic him up the hill as they come through outer zone 5, now transitioning down into outer zone 6. Brandon sticking right there on the door of Austin Zaleski through outer zone 6. Now one last transition to go on the wall. He puts it right there, door to door, as they finish out this run.
Yeah, great job by both of the drivers here in the second half of the battle. This time all is smooth. Austin Zaleski out front in his Supra, really flying through the first outside zone. Does sacrifice quite a bit of line a little bit through the first portion of the zone, but then gets it together for the rest of these. Looking nice here through the second Manchu section, settling in very well to outside zone 6, really all the way out there to the edge. And there's Brandon Patrick in that big Ferrari again, tucking out from under that smoke. And there they go across that finish line. We'll wait on the judges. Brandon on the left, Austin Zaleski on the right. Winner moves on, or excuse me, doesn't move on. He gets a podium win, 3rd place.
He moves on to 3rd place.
And yeah, it looks like we have a decision. Brandon Patrick, he is going to get the win. Unfortunate to see there Austin Zaleski with that little bit of possible lag there on his end. But it's tough when you're basically doing a world event here, and then you try and centralize the server so that everybody, you know, is able to have a good time and have a good connection. But sometimes, you know, things unfortunately happen.
And that's exactly it. Well, now it's time for our final battle of the day. Round 3 here of the Virtual Drift Championship at the Okayama International Circuit. Virtual Drift Championship is sponsored by Sim Magic, Next Level Racing, Grip Royal, Tire Stacks, and Yokas Design. And we have Alan Hines, that Pro Drift Academy S15 in the lead. And in that GTR 35 is Kawain Ebanks, who has fought his way all the way here. And it comes down to this, initiating in, looking good for Alan Hines, but Kawain matching his angle through outer zone 1, transitioning into outer zone 2, staying with them through 3, flying up the hill now. Look at Kawain keeping that angle matched to Alan Hines, transitioning down the hill now to outer zone 6. Looking good from both drivers, a good proximity from Kawain in that chase position. He's got to be careful. He has a really big car going into outer zone 7, matching Allen all the way through and keeping on the door to the finish.
Yeah, holy smokes, Kawain Ebanks with the chase run looking fantastic, but Allen as well out front as always, filling these outside zones. Right along that track edge is Alan Hines. Kawain Ebanks in that chase position right along the bumpers. They keep things going up the hill, filling those outside zones together. But again, Kawain right there on the bumper through all of these transitions, sacrifices just a little bit of line there in that bigger car, but pays off for that last and final transition there into the wall ride and across that finish line. Exceptional first half to the final battle.
Well, here we go for the second half of the final battle. Will it be Alan Hines? Will it be Coane Ebanks? We will find out here very shortly as the lights go on. Coane out front in the GTR Pro Drift Academy driver. Alan Hines chasing him down as they come through outer zone 1. Alan Hines leaving a little bit of a gap there through outer zone 1 as they come through 2, now into 3. Alan Hines getting on the door as they come through outer zone 4, transitioning through 5, looking good right along the bumper as they come into 6. Alan does a push, gets up on the door of Ebanks all the way through outer zone 6, leaves almost no room for the transition into outer zone 7, stays on throttle, puts it up onto the door, and finishes out the run strong.
Oh man, let's take another look at the second half of this final battle. Coane out front being chased down by Alan Hines. Great proximity, great angle, great line by both of the drivers. A little bit of proximity off from Alan through the first transition, but then he's right back onto the door and the bumper of that big GTR. Good transition across, good angle as well. Look at their ride along that track edge. Filling that zone nicely. There's Alan making the last and final dive right along that door. And there they go across that finish line. Man, could we see them line up for a second time here in the finals, or do we have a decision? Again, just a tough one here. It's such a close battle. It's super exciting. These guys are putting on a show.
Putting on a show indeed. And a one more time battle, I would be down for that.
Oh man, we might have a decision here. We've got one judge on the left for Alan Hines. And there it is. So unanimous decision from all 3 judges. Alan Hines gets the win here in the final battle here, round 3, Okayama International Circuit. Brand new layout, very tough layout to tackle, and these drivers did a fantastic job today.
A fantastic job indeed. Congratulations to Alan Hines for that win today. Comes back from Oman just with a fire ignited under him on this track. And Coane, what a drive today, making it all the way up. And I think this is Coane's first podium.
I think so indeed. Just did a fantastic job here with this tough track. Saw him in the practice servers a lot, getting a lot of practice in with his teammate as well. And he really showed up today. Same with Brandon Patrick and the big Ferrari. He just looks more and more dialed in that Ferrari, more and more comfortable. And Alan Hines, as you said, returning back from Oman. And I think we've got our traditional 3-man coming up between these drivers. And they are
as
off.
is tradition.
And they keep it going. And tough track to even do tandems here. Now they've got to do it in a 3-man. They keep things going up the hill. Cresting over it, back down. Tough transition. Look at them go. Well deserved from all 3 of these drivers. Really, all of the drivers in the Virtual Drift Championship now have just been going nuts. And look at there across that finish line. Save that replay.
Wow.
Good job. We'll take a look at that final 4 bracket here. Alan Hines once again taking the win. Coane Ebanks taking 2nd place after qualifying 6th here at this tough track. And Brandon Patrick to round off the podium today. Again, just exciting battles. I was on the fence again of, even doing this layout as a competition, but I am certainly glad we did. That was spectacular.
Yeah, again, I was on the opposite side. I saw this layout come out and I was excited from the second I saw it. I was like, here we go. We got something that's going to really push these drivers and really make them work hard for these wins. And not saying that the last 2 rounds they have it, but just saying that this one really kind of would be able to show a lot of strengths and weaknesses from other drivers. And indeed, it did just that.
Yeah, absolutely. And definitely the championship points are going to get shaken up indeed after this round. Couple of, drivers going out early, and then other drivers, going deep. And Brandon Patrick getting that podium. Alan Hines back up onto the podium as well. Just very interesting. And I do warn everybody, like, once the drivers, they made it look easy today. But it's gonna take some time to get used to once we release this track to the public. But again, layout A is gonna come with it. Just like I said, give me a little extra time to maybe sort that out. A couple of extra little things I want to do to the track. I know Okayama doesn't have track lights in real life, but we have the little generator lights in the game, don't we? So we're gonna place those around, and experience Okayama at night. It's a lot of fun, but a couple of extra little things that need to be done, and with bringing over the previous layout that we're all used to over there on the other side of that course. And this also sets us up for if we want to do other layouts on these other tracks, like Stirrup. Now it has a layout A and a layout B. Definitely a layout C in my head. And Silverstone, and maybe more tracks to come. I think the season's only going to get more and more exciting. Again, this maybe one of our toughest tracks. We'll have to see. We've got another 3-week break between now and the next round, so it'll be another week or so before we announce what track for round 4.
Round 4. 3 more rounds to go. 3 more rounds. That's it. And then we find out who is this season's winner of the Virtual Drift Championship. So if you haven't already, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button on our YouTube. Click the little bell so that way you get notified every time we go live. And don't forget the rest of our social medias on Facebook and Instagram as well. So no matter where you are, you can keep up to date on all of the action that happens here. All of the track releases normally happen in the Discord, but they do get posted to socials a little bit after. So if that's what you're looking for, it's the ways to do it.
Absolutely. Again, just a couple more days on Stirrup for the public tracks, but come Monday, we'll have this out for everybody to enjoy and see if they can tackle it themselves. Again, it's a tough one to do, but as these drivers just proved, very, very fun, very exciting tandems. You got to be smart, you got to be disciplined, and these drivers certainly are, because they killed it today, and it's always a fun time. So appreciate everyone for tuning in today. But that is certainly going to be it from us. You have anything else, Tanner, you wanted to?
Other than everybody have an amazing weekend.
Absolutely. And F1 this weekend, so yeah, I'm probably...
I know, I'm going to watch qualifying.
I need to catch up with qualifying. Got the race tomorrow. So, yeah, absolutely. Everyone enjoy your weekend. We'll see everyone back in 3 weeks.